Hello, everyone. My name is Kid Lee, and it's time to talk about the highly anticipated Suicide Squad. Now, this review is going to be mostly spoil free. When I actually get to the little bit of spoilers that I'm going to do, I will let you know, but the first half is definitely going to be spoiler free. First thing I want to talk about is actually the Rotten Tomatoes scoring for this movie. Does this movie deserve a 20 or 30%? Absolutely not. It's become very difficult to trust the scoring on that website because there's been some really good movies that have been scored really low and some really bad movies that have been scored really high here in the past 6 months. Now, of course, everybody is entitled to their opinion, but as you may or may not know, there's actually been a petition going around to actually get Rotten Tomatoes shut down because there's so many people who did not agree with their score on this movie. But let's go ahead and get into the movie itself. Now, one thing I will say is that I will be talking about stuff in the trailers. So we have a little bit of context on some of this stuff. So if you've not seen any of the trailers, you might want to stop watching right now. As it was hinted in the trailers, they did go over the origin stories of the new characters that we've never seen on screen before. And it was definitely refreshing. I like the way that they did it. You know, going into the trailers, people thought, how could they possibly squeeze in all of the origin stories for all these different characters, and the movie's like just a little over 2 hours? I like the way they did it. I think it was done very well. Could they have improved upon it? Absolutely, but I think given the time they had a pretty good job with the origin stories in this film. Jared Leto's Joker is the next thing that I want to talk about. I did like his Joker, but is he as good as Heath Ledger? Absolutely not. When you see the Christian Bale Batman films and you get that second movie with the Joker, every time he is on screen, it is an absolute commanding presence. And that is not something that Jared Leto was able to pull off in this movie. I think what he did was good, but not up to the standard of Heath Ledger. Harley Quinn, very, very highly anticipated role of Harley Quinn, actually having her in this movie for the first time. There was a lot of really, really good stuff with her in it, and I think there was also some stuff that was sort of mediocre. One of the big issues that I have with Harley Quinn, and also sort of this movie in general, is they gave away so much in the trailer. Some of the best scenes in the movie were in the trailer, and that's actually an issue that a lot of movies these days have been having. But overall, I really liked her character. She did shine on screen. She was, crazy. She was all over the place. And I think that's what most people wanted out of Harley Quinn. There were also some great surprises with her character that I think if you haven't seen the film, when you do see it, you're going to be extremely happy with. And then I'm going to also briefly touch on Will Smith as Deadshot. When somebody like Will Smith signs on to this movie, he's not going to be a side character. If he's in this group, he's not going to be somebody who's just kind of in the back at all. So there's a lot of Will Smith in this movie. He's right there near the center. He might even be the main character in the movie. He's in it that much. But you kind of knew that was going to happen again with Will Smith being in the movie. As far as negative things on the movie, I thought there were some minor pacing issues, and there were some very rough cuts they did in certain scenes. Now, if you haven't heard, they originally had the film, I think they had the film done, and they went back and reshot a bunch of it because they wanted to make it more like Deadpool, was the rumors. And now that I've seen it, I don't see that. I don't think they made it any more like Deadpool. Again, it's hard to say what they had originally. What they had originally might have been better. Who knows? As it was seen in the trailers, Batman is in this film. There were rumors that Ben Affleck / Batman might actually be more in the film than what we initially thought, and the sort of the last trailer or the last couple of trailers kind of confirmed that. Yeah, he is in the film quite a bit, but not maybe as much as what people think. There's also a cameo from some other characters that I didn't expect, so it was definitely cool to see those cameos. And we'll briefly talk about the bad guy, and again, I won't do any spoilers on the bad guy. I'll just say that I thought the bad guy was really good. My knowledge on DC bad guys, as far as maybe some of the other bad guys, is a little loose. I'm more of a Marvel person. But I thought what they had for the bad guys and the concept that they had for the bad guys was pretty good. And I really can't say too much more on it without spoiling things. So let's wrap up the spoiler-free section. And here's the sort of the quote that I have for this movie. And that is it Avengers good? No. Is it slightly above average? Yes. So I would say my final score for this movie is probably going to be a 6 out of 10. I flirted with a 7. I'm like, should I do a 7? But, it's close. I really don't want to do, 0.5 or whatever. I want to stick with just regular non-pointed numbers. I'm going to have to go with a 6. I can't justify a 7, I don't think. But, again, slightly above average for this movie. So, for anybody who's going to leave, go ahead and we're going to kick into the spoiler section now. Like I said, I'm not going to do too much on the way of spoilers. There's just a couple of brief things that I wanted to talk about. So here we go, spoiler time. So, the bad guy in the film, actually there's 2 bad guys. Unless you count the army, which is 3 bad guys, or Joker, 4 bad guys. Man, where do we even want to start here? No, the main bad guy in the film, or I guess I should say the main bad guy and the main bad girl, they seem like absolutely unstoppable beings. How is this crew going to stop them? And what is their solution? Well, first of all, before we even get to their solution, they sit there and they fire bullets at them and all kinds of other things. Doesn't even touch them. But what is their solution? You can always just blow them up, right? Right? That'll work. So, I wasn't a fan of that as their big explanation for ending this. Let's just blow them up with this. Actually, the bomb wasn't even that big. It was like, I don't know, that big around or something. It's like we're just gonna put it under the street and it's just gonna kill that big guy. So I did have a minor issue with that. And there's like this massive like spatial vortex going on that you can see. It's in the sky. You can see it from probably 30 miles away. And it always brings up the question of, okay, the world is gonna end. So where's Batman at exactly? I mean, we just saw him. He was just here taking care of these other guys. Where's Batman at? Where's Aquaman? Where's Flash? We saw Flash. Flash was, he was back there. He, caught the one guy. And yet the world is ending, and they are nowhere to be found. I'm always fascinated when that happens. Okay, we'll let that one go. I'm trying to think, what else do I really want to talk about for sort of a spoiler section? And really, I don't think there's too much more. Like I said, Jared Leto's Joker, he did good, but he's not as good as Heath Ledger. Harley Quinn was good. Minor issues with her, but overall good performance. Will Smith, Will Smith good. Didn't have any issues with his character as Deadshot. And then you have the other minor characters. It's really hard to do a character like a King Croc, but I thought they did him all right. And Katana and El Diablo and Captain Boomerang and Slipknot and all those other ones, I thought they did fine. No issues there. So I think that's going to go ahead and do it for this video, ladies and gentlemen. I'd love to hear what you have to say about Suicide Squad if you've seen it. Leave a comment down below. And, yep, that will go ahead and do it for the video. So if you have any comments, questions, please leave them below. Thank you all so much for watching. And with that being said, everybody keep playing and have fun.